Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I'm going to share with you a comment and a response to a comment from my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. I respond to comments regularly, so if you have questions about Splinterlands or about who I am or about why I like this game, drop comments on any video, and if I see it, I might just turn it into a video. If you want more content from me and you want to support what I'm doing here, I encourage you to check out the membership tab and just check out how you can join and support. And not only will you help me create the content that I do, but also you're gonna have access to extra members only content. So if that sounds interesting, check it out. And the comment is actually one that's geared around SPS versus cards. So we're talking about like future-proofing yourself for Splinterlands. If you believe in this, but right now SPS is low and cards are low, is there an angle to play? So that's where we're going with this one. There's more to it than that. It's actually like a three-part question, but that's the tail end that we're going to focus on mostly. So if that sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like and subscribe. So Tusk Reaper Gaming says, hey, 12. First off, hope the family's doing well. And they are. I'll tell you, I got two daughters, 7 and 9. Youngest she has seizures, and they're mostly quiet lately, which is amazing. I feel like it's a blessing. It's an answer to prayer. My older girl, who's 9, is just getting so smart, and I'm seeing so many cool new sort of abilities and some mental development. She's becoming very mature, and my wife's doing amazing, and so am I. So physically, spiritually, I'm just feeling great. So thank you very much for asking. I appreciate you. And he goes, on this video, which we were talking about. One of the things we touched on in this video is how some of the new abilities in the new change to what I'm calling items and spells 0.5 in the game, where you're going to be able to look at the battlefield and drop certain spells or items to modify the experience. One of the ways you've heard about this is through summoner tactics, but eventually items and spells will allow you to do even more. And we heard Matt talk about maybe you could drop a poison specifically on one card. And then somebody asked a comment that I responded to saying, like, maybe you could drop poison on a certain key monster to trigger a martyr. Or maybe, and somebody said maybe on a Dr. Blight because the Dr. Blight's so powerful and you want to get that poison on him right away. I think those are all interesting thoughts. A lot of it is speculation. And his question is, my comment is that if Dr. Blight, wouldn't he be immune to being targeted from the start of any battle because of even with special abilities due to his camouflage? It's speculation, to be honest. We are imagining how they will interpret and apply these new rules. I would think that if there's like a pre-battle phase where you can attribute an item or a spell, I would think camouflage. I'm leaning towards saying I expect camouflage not to prevent you from being targeted. I could formulate an argument to the opposite, but I suspect it's almost like because you've heard Nate talk about how we are the battle mage. We are outside the game. We are not in it, subject to its limitations. Falling for camouflage. We are outside the game, above it, and we should be able to attribute a poison to a character that is camouflaged. That's my thinking at this moment, but understand that we don't know, and this is speculation. Finally, I want to address the main question here, which I introduced at the beginning there, which is really around future-proofing your deck. Being, in this middle of the bear market, recognizing that SPS is down, but so are cards. Is there an angle to play to prepare yourself for the best opportunity moving forward? He goes, I would think he would, let's see. He goes, I'm prepared to cash out on SPS, but to use that to basically double down after taking profits and play for free in the future. And thank you for your thoughts, Bone Reaper. So I'm going to send Bone Reaper a little something at the end of here. Thank you for dropping the IGN and the comment. This comment grabbed me because, for one, there's this idea of SPS might moon before cards moon. They could moon at the exact same time, but usually there's like a wave to crypto. And I think it's most likely that SPS moons first. Most likely. I can't be sure. And please don't, bet the farm on this, but follow my logic and test me. Like, do you think, help me think this through right now. I think SPS moons first before cards do. And why? I say that because I expect that SPS is almost going to be a driving force to get new players to join the game, which itself will be a trigger for cards, for SPS to go higher. And then later for cards to go up. Because why? So the SPS starts to go up because crypto goes up. It's irrespective of fundamentals. It's not necessarily because there's a flywheel. It's not necessarily because there's great economics or tokenomics or, you know, new players getting involved. It's simply what we've seen with the DEC, the sinking, the mechanics, the burn mechanics, and we just get to a place, whether it's in 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years, that there isn't enough DEC, and eventually we start to burn SPS to get that needed DEC, and we need it for land, we need it for card buying, we need it for staking, we need it for, you know, liquidity pools, etc. So that mechanic alone should lead to an increase in SPS price because we burn it to get the DEC. Again, is that today, tomorrow, then, you know, 5 years? I don't really know. I think sooner than you imagine, but I don't know. Now, that argument is saying that I think SPS moves first, because I'm not even saying there's an outside interest in the game in that argument. I'm saying there's literally a mechanic already built into this game that will change and cause appreciation with SPS. Plus, we know SPS will eventually stop being circulated. Again, that's an effect on supply. So I feel like these are two amazing and very reliable indicators that we will see SPS price move. And it's possible we see a huge influx of player base, but I think the greatest likelihood for drawing them would be if the token flew. If the token goes from 1 cent to 50 cents or 1 cent to $1, that's going to draw eyeballs and participation. And I actually just outlined, and you know, the flywheel is the mechanic by which we will see the token appreciate. So it's like we have this recipe to increase SPS price, and from that, I expect new player growth, and from that, I expect card price appreciation. So, you know, what's going to happen first? Is it going to be SPS? Is it going to be cards pumping? Because you talk about selling your SPS bag to double down on Splinterlands, which I guess means buying Splinterlands related assets. And I'm interested in that because I actually think cards are a very, you know, powerful tool. I think they're, especially depending on the edition you're buying, they're limited in number, they're deflationary nature. I believe they will appreciate across a long enough time horizon. I believe all that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I want to think through this with you. Because again, I think SPS goes first for the reasons I outlined. But then does that mean that selling SPS to buy cards is a terrible idea? No, it's far more complicated than that. And with all difficult questions, or with, you know, thoughtful questions, there's always a nuanced response. But so, I mean, if you have a big bag of SPS or, you know, forget about how big it is. Your SPS bag and you're willing to say goodbye to it, and that allow you to buy some key cards that will allow you to play, double down on your ability to play within the rank experience or the tournaments or the guild brawls or whatever. Cards are cheap. You can afford some cards right now that you will not be able to afford in the future. That's a fact. I don't know what edition you're interested in looking at, but that's a fact. And again, these cards are limited in number. Again, some of them are bigger, sort of more prolific than others. You know, reward cards, Chaos Legion, sure, there's lots of them right now. But if the player base grows, if the SPS, you know, procs in the way that I mentioned, I think we get to a place where ultimately even they are scarce. Now, so I'm saying I actually can imagine the card prices appreciating wildly. And I actually could see a vision where what you are proposing would be really logical. I do think it's probably more likely SPS goes first, but SPS has greater risk because even though it could go first, and when it goes, I think it will go first, I think you have greater opportunity for fall between now and then. Is the next bull market in 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months, or 6 years? Nobody really knows. I think it's soon. I do. But I'm saying we don't know. And if we are not about to enter a bear market, and we cannot, I mean, maybe you disagree, but I do not feel 100% sure. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're not 100% sure about the next bear market, holding SPS is more risky than cards. The cards have devalued radically over the last 6 months. I've been tracking it. It's about half of the value gone in the last 6 months. And that's huge. But you know what? The SPS has gone from $1 to a penny. That's 99% loss. And I think we could go, I imagine we could go below a penny. I imagine we actually could go below a penny. I said originally at the top, like toward the top, like when we were 70 cents, 60 cents, I said we probably would go to a penny. Here we are pretty darn close. I wouldn't be surprised if we go to a penny or below. And if you are holding an SPS bag at 1.4 cents and it goes to 0.7 cents, you lost half your money. So that's possible. And that feels more likely than cards going from right now, let's say my card deck going from 25,000 to 12,000. I believe SPS will move first. It will moon first. Cards will follow and will moon. But I also believe, I don't know the timeline around that. And it's certainly possible that SPS could crater before it moons. And I don't think this, but if I was making investment decisions with someone else's money, I would want them to be 100% clear about the fact we do not know whether SPS, yes, we think SPS, I think it's reasonable to believe SPS moons before cards because of the reasons I outlined, but we do not know if the falling is done, if the flooring is done, if we are at the bottom or not. Many would say we are. I lean towards yes, we are, but we do not know. And crypto tokens could fall crazy amounts. So I'm saying SPS is an exciting moon mission, but it's also far riskier than cards, which hold their value because they have in-game utility. One last thought, I'm going to finish there. You talk about taking profits. Love that. You talk about playing for free in the future. Love that. Taking profits is so important. If you're at a place where you still feel like you're taking profits, lots of people would say taking losses, right? You've experienced paper losses and you're recording them for perpetuity. You're committing to that sell, and then you've lost that. You've committed. You've changed your portfolio. It's no longer a paper loss. It's a realized. If you would be taking profits, good for you. If you could position yourself so that you're playing for free in the future, amazing. Those are factors that would weigh into my concerns and considerations and plans about how I would handle this. But finally, I would not sell my SPS bag for 1.4 cents, even though I feel it could fall, even though I feel uncertain about the next bull market or when its timing will be. For me, SPS has too much upside potential, and I've ridden the wave so far down already. I just find even if I have to go further, even if there's a lot more pain to experience, I've been here, I've done this with other crypto. I've ridden coins for years, and I've seen crater and flatline and come back. And now I feel like today in 2023, I'm looking at possible, new big moves that could change my life. And I, with that in mind, I'm personally not selling my SPS, even though what I'm seeing here makes a lot of sense. You want to buy more cards because they're cheap, great. You want to double down on your card acquisition because you see long-term value, great. You want to take profits because you want to play for free in the future, that's really smart. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I look at it from two ways. Like I said, SPS probably moons first, cards follow later. Cards are more secure and they're probably not going to fall as far or as fast as SPS. So if you're worried about long-term prolonged bear market, I probably would lean cards. But you see how this is a complicated conversation, and it all depends on timing. And it's possible that we get shaken by time, we get confused, and we get we think we're going left and we end up going right. And so to me, I don't even like guessing. I just like building a bag and waiting. I don't want to play moves. I don't want to play impulses. I don't want to, make a move as I expect things to happen in the next few days or weeks. I want to build my bag with time and attention across a long time horizon and look back in years to come and see life-changing opportunity that came out of a video game. So Tusk Reaper, thank you for the comment. Sounds like you're being very thoughtful about your approach. I think you're going to do well with that sort of approach to it, no matter what you do, because I'm seeing thoughtfulness. I'm seeing an effort to approach it from a nuanced perspective and to be prudent in terms of taking profits, realizing profits, and trying to position yourself so you're paying for free. Because man, those will make your future gains so much more possible, because you're not shooting for the moon. You'll be okay with taking average. You need to practice taking profits. That's something that everyone who's been in crypto needs to learn. You don't get good at it. You think when my cards are worth a fortune, I'll take profits. If you don't practice regularly, you won't. The number of people that sold cards in the last bull market are very few. I happen to have been one of them, and I'm lucky. And a large part it came because of Steve R82 and his voice of reason and saying like, I'm just going to sell a few because I just don't know. I thought, I don't know, man. I think he's wrong, but I'm going to follow suit. And I'm glad I did. I sold land plots. I sold, Byzantine Kitty. I sold the Lux Vega, all of which were far more expensive when I did it. And so you might be right about this. SPS could fall further and maybe it would be the right move. But also I could see in 6 weeks, SPS be 10 cents. Land, rebellion, I really could. Maybe that's not going to happen. But we refuse to move when I don't know what's going to happen. I'd rather make my bed, lie in it, and wait for the moon to come to me. Thanks, guys. Have an amazing day. God bless. Thanks, Bone Reaper. Appreciate you. God bless.